Sheena, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. Thank you very much to everyone on this webinar for taking the time to join us. My name, as Sheena has said, is Sherianne Blackett, and I am the Department for International Trade Officer working to promote the Study UK brand across the Caribbean. And I'm joined this evening by my colleague, Gilly Mexican, who is the High Commission's Political Officer and the Chevening Scholarship Liaison for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean as well. During tonight's webinar, we will discuss some of the advantages first of studying in the UK. We'll be providing an overview of the UK application process and more. And then we will shift to discuss the important aspect of this presentation, which I'm sure most of you are very interested in, which is the Chevening Scholarship. And we'll be providing a brief overview on that scholarship and giving you a bit of tips on how to successfully navigate the application process. So we're going to start with a presentation about the UK as a study destination in general, and then follow that by a summary of UK visas and an overview, as I said, of the Chevening Scholarship. So why study in the UK? There are many benefits. Overall, the UK, it has 1/5 of the world's top universities are located in the UK. It has 166 higher education institutions, and more than 50,000 courses are on offer from 679 institutions. Approximately 93% of international postgraduates who study in the UK have rated the quality of UK teaching to be quite high. Also, approximately 2.5 million students pursue study in the UK each year, which makes it a great destination to engage with other students and like-minded people from around the world. Approximately 69% of UK graduates said that their degree from the UK has helped them progress more quickly in their chosen career fields. And actually 1 in 4 world leaders, which is an interesting point, have studied in the UK. So a lot of really positive benefits. So in addition to these, you have to also consider the multicultural environment within the UK. So when you're studying in the UK, you have exposure to a range of cultures and people from all over the world, as I mentioned. So some of the latest data that we've looked at says that there are more than 500,000 international students who have enrolled in UK higher education within the last 3 years. So it's a considerable number. And as I mentioned earlier, students from all around the world. Some of the stats say from as much as 150 countries have presence of students studying in the UK at different times. Also of interest, 1 in 3 UK university academic staff are also from outside of the UK. So in addition to having a diverse student body, there's also a pretty diverse academic staff body as well, which makes it even more attractive to international students who can then further engage, again, with like-minded professors and teaching staff that may come from their region or that they can identify with for whatever reason. On top of this, 24% of all academic higher education staff and 17% of students in the UK are international. So it's definitely a multicultural environment. In addition to those benefits, the UK is also a leader in research and innovation. So between 2006 to 2014, the UK Research Council invested over £17 billion in research. And researchers at different points have access to different pots of fund, including some popular funds that you may be aware of, such as the Newton Fund, which is available to some beneficiaries across Latin America and the Caribbean. In addition to that, the UK is ranked 2nd in the world for science and research, with 54% of its output being world leading, as it's said to be. While in the UK, you will also have access to the latest and smartest facilities. So the UK's reputation for world-class research is unsurpassed. The UK recently passed the US to rank 1st for citation impact globally, and that's according to the Department of Business Skills. which is a very interesting fact. So another reason to study in the UK is the relevance of the training available in the UK, much of which is actually relevant to academic and professional training that may not be available locally. So if you choose to pursue a degree in the UK, this gives you access to courses and subjects that may not be available within local academic institutions. And we know economists are currently looking in the region and acknowledge there may be some shortfalls in the labor market in terms of skills. And one of them in particular is in the renewable energy space. So if we look at renewable energy policymakers say has the potential in the Caribbean due to the abundance of sunlight and other natural resources. The CDB actually recently signed an agreement with the EU to introduce over $110 million worth of renewable energy projects to the region, and to help implement and fast track the implementation of this technology. The local governments will require technicians and expertise to help develop this technology. And this is a sector where the UK has a wide range of expertise. So actually currently over 30% of the UK's current electricity grid is generated from renewable energy. So to support this technical expertise, the UK has various renewable energy study streams that students may be interested in pursuing. Within the undergrad, we've clipped and put a snapshot here of some of the current renewable energy programs that are available. And as you can see, it's quite varied. So you can study electronics and renewable energy systems at the University of Leeds. You can also study renewable energy engineering at Southampton Solent University. And for those of you who are interested in pursuing the Chevening as well, you can look at universities that are relevant to Chevening and select degrees that may be relevant in the profession that you're interested in. Here, again, we've done a very small snapshot, but we can look example at the University of Exeter, which offers currently an offshore renewable energy Master of Science. So again, there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of training available in professional skill sets that may not be available currently locally within the Caribbean region. So something to consider. And to add an additional example to this, we can also look at the creative industries. So we know that there's a strong potential for the creative industries within the Caribbean. And again, within the UK, this is a very well developed sector. So according to data from 2016, the UK creative industries sector was valued at £84.1 billion, which is a considerable sector within the UK. And again, because of that development within the local commercial sector, the academic training has increased and enhanced to meet the demands of the labor market. So while you might find a real deficiency or inability to identify training as it relates to creative industries within the Caribbean, within the UK, again, we see quite a wide variety of options in this space, as you did within the renewable energy space. And we've just, again, put a very small snapshot of some of the programs that are on offer in the UK on this slide here. So in addition to all of those advantages, the UK really does provide you with the career boost that you might need. So on top of your academic training, students with a UK student visa can also undertake an internship. So you are allowed to do up to 20 hours per week in internship work, which, as you know, anyone who's done internships in the past, that can be very helpful in you progressing your professional experience and understanding as you pursue your studies. So again, a huge benefit of studying in the UK. So you've decided now that you want to study in the UK. Where do you start, you might ask? And actually, the UK's application process is very much streamlined and very much accessible online. So prospective students can utilize the UK's university and College Admissions Services website, which is called the UCAS, for those of you who may not be aware. And UCAS has a comprehensive list of every registered program and university in the UK. So students can utilize UCAS Course Finder to research institutions that offer their preferred program of study. So earlier we showed you a bit of a snapshot of courses in the renewables and creative industry space. We gathered that information from UCAS and actually put it in the presentation here. It's a very easy website to navigate. And we'll show you a bit of a snapshot here. But the process of using UCAS is very simple. So once you've logged on to the UCAS website, you can navigate through a search and filter system. And as you can see, you can search and filter by undergraduate programs that are on offer. And you can also search and filter by postgraduate programs that are on offer. So to apply to study at a UK university, prospective students should really start the process at least 10 months to a year beforehand. And the UCAS website can definitely help you in doing that. To begin, you will need to sign up and complete a profile online on the UCAS website. And when registering a profile, each applicant will need to prepare a personal statement and submit written references from a tutor or educator. And for those of you who have or will have completed the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Exams, or CAPE, this certification is accepted by the UK's National Recognition Information Centre, and usually they accept 6 CAPE certificates to move forward. But for some UK programs, students can complete the Caribbean Examinations Council Secondary Education Certificate, or CSEC only, but you will typically be required to complete a UK Foundations course as well. So that's something to be aware of. So for postgraduate students, the application process is quite similar. So you can also utilize the UCAS Course Finder to research programs of interest. They can also sign up for a UK Pass account, which allows applicants to certain postgraduate degrees to apply online within the UK Pass online portal. And for postgraduate programs not offered within the UK Pass portal, applicants can actually apply for postgrad degrees directly with their preferred university. So for postgrad, there's not necessarily a need to utilize UCAS for applications. However, you can use it again to research courses that may be of interest to you. I guess you can consider it as a research tool if you're very new to the UK and you're not aware of what is on offer. Another thing to be aware of is the fact that the deadline dates for postgraduate courses, often there's no fixed application deadline. So you can apply as soon as you decide that you want to study on a UK course. However, it's always best to be pulling together your applications early to make sure you have the best chance of being accepted. And as I mentioned earlier, we would recommend probably 9 to 10 months beforehand to really start the process of considering where you might want to study and beginning the application process. So outside of in-person study in the UK, there are also quite a few options available for those who may want to advance their skill set but are unable to relocate to the UK to study. I'm conscious that most of you are very much interested in studying in the UK, so I'll move on from the slide. But we just put it here for you in case you might know people who might not be able to go abroad. There are some online options as well. We've listed them here for your information. Also here on this slide, we've listed a few useful education links and resources. So again, we've listed the UCAS website portal. Also earlier, I mentioned the fact that you can convert some of your Caribbean qualifications within the UK system. We have a link here so that you can access that information and review as a part of your application preparation. We've also linked some of the details about exams for those of you interested in certain degrees where an exam is required. So we've put the link there so that you can have a look at that, as well as details about the UK student visa and other information that might be of interest. And I think that all of you should be able to have access to our presentations after tonight. I believe the Student Centre will post this information to their Facebook or online. So you should be able to access these links in due course as well. So that is the end of my presentation. I am going to stop sharing my screen now and hand over to my colleague, Jilly Metzgen, who I'm sure a lot of you are very keen to hear from. So I'll hand over to you now, Jilly. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sherry-Ann. I'm just going to share my screen with you all and hope it will work. Can everybody see the screen? Yes. Sherry-Ann, Gina? Good. Excellent. Well, let me just explain who I am and why I'm here. Well, actually, before I do that, let's say thanks to Sheena Aline and Tony Lashley at the Student Centre for hosting us this evening. My plan this evening is to talk about the Chevening Scholarship Programme. We're being sponsored by the British High Commission in Bridgetown, which is where Sherry-Ann and I work, but also on behalf of the High Commission offices around the region. I don't know where people are from who are on the line, but this is being recorded, so others may want to see this too. So just to confirm that we have British High Commission offices in Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Belize, obviously here in Barbados, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. And if by chance you're listening and you're in one of the British Overseas Territories, you can connect with the Governor's Office for more information. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Jilly Metzgen. I'm the Political Officer at the British High Commission in Bridgetown. One of my responsibilities and a privilege and a pleasure is the overall administration of the Chevening scheme in the countries of the Eastern Caribbean. I will give a presentation now on the outline of the scholarship scheme. What are Chevening scholarships? Good question. They are the UK government's global scholarship programme funded by the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, which is the FCDO. They are available to applicants from over 160 countries and territories, including all of the CARICOM countries and all of the British Overseas Territories. They support an in-person, 1-year taught master's degree in any subject at any university. One thing I should state very early on is that should a Chevening scholar wish to stay on the postgraduate scheme afterwards, they are not able to do so. They cannot stay on and work in the UK. That's just to make that quite clear up front. Anyway, this scheme, this scholarship is aimed at the leaders of tomorrow. So I hope that all of you in this Zoom session are all in the right place. Obviously, Sheena has done some housekeeping, so we will do questions and answers later. So as Sheena said, drop your questions into the chat or into the Q&A element on Zoom and hold them until we get to the Q&A. Oh, okay. First of all, what are these? Who are these scholarships aimed at? Who should apply? Chevening scholarships are enabling outstanding emerging leaders from all over the world to pursue a 1-year taught master's degree in the UK. And whilst there is no typical Chevening scholar, we are looking for the kind of people who have passion, ideas, energy, and influence. And this will provide solutions and leadership needed to create a better future for your islands and for your region. In order to submit an eligible application, you must be a citizen of a Chevening eligible country. Now, all CARICOM citizens are eligible. You must already have an undergraduate degree. You must have at least 2 years work experience, and you cannot have previously received UK government funding to study in the UK. Before being awarded a scholarship, any selected candidate must also hold an unconditional offer from at least one of their 3 university course. So what does a Chevening Scholarship cover? First of all, fully covered tuition fees. A living, little comment there, by the way, is capped for MBAs at £22,000, and they can be quite a bit more than that. So please be aware of that. It allows for a living allowance for one person at a set rate. You get a little bit more money if you're in London than if you're outside London, because it does cost more to live there. You get an economy return flight to the UK. You get additional grants to cover essential expenditure. And you also get your visa and your health surcharge paid for when you go up to the UK. One of the things you have to do is to apply for a visa, but as a Chevening Scholar, you get this free. What else does a Chevening Scholarship offer? Scholars are invited to a vast programme of exclusive networking events. Because you are having all your scholarship funded, you're free to focus on achieving your professional goals and maximising the experience of a lifetime. You will live and study in the UK for a whole year, during which time you will develop professionally and academically. You will network extensively, you will experience UK culture, and you'll build lasting positive relationships with the UK. Once you've completed your studies, you will leave the UK equipped with the knowledge and the networks which you need to bring your own ideas to life. Other offers that scholars can benefit from are internships at the BBC World Service, volunteering opportunities, and a competition which the Chevening Secretariat does. The Secretariat is rather good at looking after its students, so that's another rather nice benefit of being a scholar. You are looked after quite well. So once you have become a scholar and you've graduated, you become one of their Chevening alumni. You will be part of a 50,000 plus worldwide group of alumni who form an influential and highly regarded global network. So I just thought you'd like to see some international global alumni. The past president of Costa Rica, Carlos Alvarado Quezada, Cabinet Secretary for Sport, Culture and Heritage in Kenya, Amina Mohammed, and an interesting lady, Kongozul Zola Amasana, who is from Mongolia, and she is at the university. She was at University Sussex, and she is a women's activist. From our region, we have Dr. Jimmy Fletcher from St. Lucia, a climate change expert. We have Dr. Winston Anderson, who was from Barbados, who is a judge at the Caribbean Court of Justice, and Dr. Ronnie Yearwood. Those of you in Barbados will know he's the president of the opposition Democratic Labour Party. In each country, you'll find a Chevening alumni group and alumni who are keen to support you to make a successful application. And they know very well that we are very grateful to them for all that they do to publicise the Chevening scheme. So what happens next? As you can see from this slide and the next one, the application period for scholarships is currently open until the 1st of November. So this is a tight timeline. Today is the 25th of October. It's 1 week to go. After the 1st of November, the applications are sifted and long and short lists are produced. Interviews will take place between February and April in 2023, and the results will be announced in June 2023. If you've applied and if you've had a successful interview, certainly you should at this point have at least one unconditional offer from one of the universities that you have selected. In September, you go off to be a Chevening Scholar for 23-24 and have a wonderful year. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about applying for the scholarship. What's important is this website, Chevening, www.chevening.org.uk. And before I go on or say anything else, let me say that that website will be your best friend in researching all about the scholarship and applying for courses. You get guidance on all aspects of applying, course selections, references, how to avoid common errors, all of that's included, as well as videos from current scholars and alumni with useful messages. There's really a lot there. One of my first messages tonight is to take the Chevening application very seriously. If you've looked at the application form already, you'll know that it's not something you can just waltz through in one evening. Please do go through it with great care. Some of it is pretty straightforward with names and addresses and things, where you went to college. All of that should be entered accurately. And then there is a part where you can prove that you are a potential Chevener. On this slide, you'll see the important parts of the application process, which are 4 essay questions. Each is a minimum of 100 words, maximum of 500. And you have to write on leadership and influencing, explaining your leadership and influencing qualities using clear examples. Relationship building and shared learning. You have to think about how you will build a global professional network and establish links in the UK. Studying in the UK. Explain how your experience is relevant to your chosen courses and how those courses and choices will allow you to achieve your career goals. And finally, your career plan. What are your short and long-term goals? How will you achieve them? And importantly, how will they benefit your home country? Please do allocate time and effort to these essays. Remember what we're looking for. We're looking for the leaders of the future. Show us by what you have done and achieved to date that you are the right person for this scholarship. Give us solid proof and examples. And that doesn't matter whether it's in your academic life, school or university, in your professional life to date, or in your own personal sphere. And that might be sporting, church, volunteering, service clubs. You can show leadership in so very many spheres. Another hugely important part of the process is the selection of 3 courses at universities. These can be similar courses at the same or different universities. Please do your research on this. Are there particular professors or lecturers widely associated with your subject? What will you be doing with the masters in this discipline? How will it benefit you in the future? And don't just look at universities in London just because they're in London. There are excellent universities throughout the UK. For example, journalism is strong in Cardiff. Development studies are a strong focus at Sussex, and economics you will find very well represented at Nottingham. Take the time, do your homework, impress the interview panel with the research you've done. I now want to talk a little bit about what Chevening assessors have said about past applications to give you an idea about what is expected. And I quote, "We are looking for a thoughtful application that demonstrates that you are capable of excelling on an intense master's course in the UK and that you have a vision for the future." End of quote. In short, you need to know who you are and where you are heading in life. I've got some feedback from these assessors of past applications, and I do want to share some of this with you. Strong applicants, they say, give relevant, concise answers with great examples of their leadership skills. Moreover, clear examples of how and when they demonstrated these skills should be evident. Applicants also give good examples of networking. You should put thought into linking your Chevening application with the postgraduate program that you choose. Those who score better tend to have slightly longer responses to questions and avoid being too vague or making sweeping statements about their career plan or decisions on their university and degree choice for the UK. That's not to say that longer answers are better ones. They're not. You shouldn't be verbose. Do not give verbose answers which don't really answer the question and don't go off topic. Strong applicants stick to the brief, providing a clear rationale behind the choice of university and degree, demonstrating time and effort spent in researching the different universities and what makes them appeal to you. And this shouldn't just be based on a league table ranking or the fact that a particular football team is from the same city. High-scoring applicants will give detailed examples of leadership, pulling on relevant, more contemporary examples. In the Studying in the UK section, applicants will need to give compelling reasons why they are choosing their particular courses. They should try to link undergraduate study with potential postgraduate study in the UK, and try to link experience and course choice to future leadership goals. Strong candidates also give achievable, well thought out and specific career plans. Think about the things that matter to your country and to the global issues that affect its development. As I said earlier, don't confine your university searches to just London and the South East. There are excellent universities in England, Scotland, Wales, and the Northern Ireland. You don't have to apply to universities to submit the form. However, by the time the interviews take place in February to March next year, if you are called for interview, you should have given some thought to submitting your application. You can upload any offer that you've received after the application period is closed. You do not need to have your references to submit your application, but you do need to identify your referees. It's up to you to submit these, and you can do this also after the application period closes. Please be aware that the interviews for the scholarships will take place on Microsoft Teams. So please remember the golden rule about applications. Read the questions you are asked and give the answers that are requested. My final plea is very simple. Don't wait until the very last minute to submit your application. As I've said previously, the application period ends on the 1st of November, and it's tight, I realize that. However, no application, even if it's the most wonderful application, is going to be accepted after that date. If you think that there are thousands and thousands of applicants leaving it to the last minute all around the world, there is a very strong possibility that it may just not be possible to get your entry in. At that point, if you can't submit your application, nobody can assist you. Do follow the social media of Chevening. I've put the handles of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn on the screen. Remember, chevening.org is your best friend for this application. And I'd like to thank you for listening to this formal presentation, which I hope will have given you a good idea about this very prestigious scholarship. I'd like now to take Q&A, and I thank Sheena for facilitating that for us. I hope you found this useful, and if you are applying, good luck with your application. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie and Sharianne, for those presentations. They were very insightful and helpful. I'm going to kickstart the questions, but anyone that is sitting in this Zoom webinar, please feel free to use your chat option or the Q&A option located on your Zoom panel to send us any queries that you may have. My first question is to Julie. Julie, I know persons that are looking to start in 2023 are considering applying to schools and may not yet have fully applied or have not gotten back an offer. Will that prevent them from applying to the Chevening?
Absolutely not. No, you can, all you have to do to submit your application form is to identify 3 courses at universities which you wish to pursue. You don't have to have done anything more than that. But I mean, it doesn't mean you can just pick them out of the hat. Do think seriously about which ones you want to choose and why you're choosing them and where you're choosing them. And remember what I said about doing your research. But no, you do not have to have applied. You don't have to have done anything except identify them.
Okay, thank you for, so you just need to identify your 3 and obviously 3 that you are seriously are preparing to apply to. That's
correct. Yeah, absolutely correct.
I have a question here in the Q&A. Do you need to have a particular GPA requirement to apply? That's grade point average.
No, you don't actually. I mean, everyone says, oh, it's for leaders and it's for first class honours. Well, actually, no, you do not have to have a particular GPA or a particular first or second class honours. But let me stress that if you haven't got a particularly good undergraduate degree, you might not find it easy to follow the course in the UK if it's a particularly intensive one. I would prefer to see a reasonably good undergraduate degree, but that would have to be accompanied by outstanding leadership evidence. So there is no formal requirement for any particular GPA. There's another thing I will say, which I didn't mention earlier, it's not to do with this question, is that there is no age limit. I've had people apply for Chevening in their 40s, and successfully so, and they are now leaders in their country. So I think it's important to know that there is no age limit for the Chevening Scholarship. As a caveat, I would also say that if you're sort of 65 and you're looking to be a leader of tomorrow, you've left it a bit late. But I would say that. But yes, no age limit as such, and no GPA as such.
Okay, so Sabrina, I hope that we answered your question for you. Are there any particular areas of study that the Chevening may not cover? I know you mentioned, you had a caveat there about MBAs and knowing that MBAs can sometimes be above the cap for tuition for Chevening, but are there other areas of study that may not be qualifiable?
I would like to say everything is eligible, but there's always going to be something to catch me out, isn't there? So I think by and large, take the view that any taught postgraduate course for 1 year at a UK university is going to be eligible. However, what I should say is, just like the UCAS system, the online application system for Chevening has a really rather neat course selection. So you cannot actually select a course that is not eligible for Chevening. So when you're applying, you choose your university and it will throw up for you all of the options that are available for that university. I mean, one or two other things to mention. If by an unusual chance the course is withdrawn after you've submitted your application for a Chevening scholarship, and if you do get offered Chevening, obviously there's a certain flexibility around choosing an alternative course, whether it would be another one offered by that university or courses offered at another university. At the time of interview, it's important to note that we have a certain flexibility about what we will accept at that point. So by and large, if you've chosen course 1 to be your top choice, we would expect you to get a place at course 1 at the University of X and then go to course 1, study course 1 at the University of X. I hope I've made myself clear.
So if anyone has any follow-up questions regarding what Julie just said, please just use the Q&A or the chat option to put your queries in, so that we can answer anything that you are unsure about or confused about. Let us know. Julie, I want to go back to references. You would have covered this, but just in case, what type of references, how many references, and do students need to just put only academic, or can they do a mixture of references?
First of all, it's two references. It's not prescriptive. I always think one academic and one in a sort of talking about how splendid you are in your leadership qualities in the rest of your life is a very good idea, because obviously academics don't always know if you've been a leader in your, I don't know, in Rotaract or your church group or something. If you've been an outstanding leader in that, you're not going to get a reference which will confirm those leadership skills. I mean, please take note that I am talking about leadership all the time. We are looking for the leaders of tomorrow, and those leaders, and again, let me repeat this, it doesn't really matter which area you're going to be a leader in. I mean, it could be politics, and there's Ronnie Yearwood to be proof of that. but it could be law, it could be journalism, it could be research, it could be engineering, it could be government. We have a number of senior civil servants, a number of the permanent secretaries here in Barbados are Chevening scholars, Chevening alumni. It's a broad range. So yes, the reference should confirm what we are looking for, your leadership skills and qualities. And yes, what happens is you have to have put down the two names when you make your application, but you don't have to have the references. If you want to take this seriously, you would then go to your referees and ask them to produce your references. You would have to have them if you're called for interview, which would be in February, March time. So be aware that your references would be needed at the time of interview.
Okay, and so after the interviews in February, how soon will persons know whether they're successful or not? I know sometimes you don't hear about if you're not successful, but do you also contact persons if they are unsuccessful as well? They will know?
They're informed around the same time, which is in June. And that does actually mean that we have a bit of a scamper to get everything sorted out. So if you've had an interview, if you're shortlisted and you are interviewed, you should be aware then that is really the time to get an unconditional offer in, because if you are offered a scholarship, that would be around June time, and then you have to get you need to have your unconditional offer to accept scholarship. You then need to get your medicals and things like that, which you have to confirm. And then you have to get your CAS, and Tina will know lots more about your CAS than probably I do. And then you have to have your CAS and a final letter from the British High Commission offering you the scholarship. And those are the two elements that you need to apply for your visa. Your cost of the visa is free. It's free of charge. Your health surcharge is free. But of course, visas take a bit of time. So we need to get these in as soon as possible so that you can depart in good time to get up to the UK, to secure your accommodation, to go to your orientation, your introductory weeks, and then get settled in. Because I promise you, for these subjects, these postgraduate masters, you need to hit the ground running. They run at a pace, and the year goes really fast. So perhaps I think I've veered off the subject there too much, but Tina, over to you.
No, actually, that was useful information. Actually, that led me to a follow-up question. So persons would have to apply to these schools on their own, yes. And then some part of accepting that offer would be to pay a tuition deposit to confirm that offer.
Oh, that's a very useful thing to state right now. If you're applying for Chevening and you've had your interview, and then the university asks you for a deposit for your fees, please do not pay this. This would not be reimbursed by Chevening. You just merely say to them you have applied for a Chevening scholarship and you are expecting the results of that application very shortly. And they should not then hassle you to pay a deposit for the fees.
Okay, that was an important question, because I don't think sometimes people think about the fact that it's two processes happening at the same time. Yes,
they're two parallel processes, exactly. Yeah.
No, it's just mindful. So remember, if you have applied to your school and you're also applying to Chevening, you've applied and you're waiting out. And I know the schools come back and sometimes you get a lot of reminders via email about confirm your offer, pay the tuition deposit. Kindly inform the school, the institution, that you've applied to Chevening, and so they will have to wait. They will have to wait a bit until they get back the results. And obviously, if you are successful, then things will get put into place. If they're successful, then do you guys go forward with the deposit, or they have to just wait until the funds are dispersed?
No. If they're successful, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy as a lark. They like having Chevening scholars. So the whole thing about asking for a deposit goes out the window. You don't have to worry about it, because they know, because the letter of offer means that they are guaranteed their money by the Chevening Secretariat.
Okay, and then for those who had the conditional offers and are awaiting, obviously maybe their results, maybe a final transcript, whatever the case is, then do they hand you?
They can upload them into the system.
Okay.
Up until a point, yeah. I think they're told when they can, after the date after which they cannot upload any further information. So they'll be uploading transcripts, references, and unconditional offers.
Successful Chevening scholars, in terms of the immigration process, are you guys assisting them through this process, or they navigate on their own with your instruction?
They navigate on their own, but there are certain elements that they just tick the box which says, yes, I am a Chevening scholar, and that immediately means that they don't have to pay for it. If there is a problem around getting an interview to submit the biometric information, the British High Commission could help under those circumstances. Yes, there has to be some advantage of being within the system. So yes, if there is a problem around getting a timely slot, then we would be of assistance, yes.
But sometimes you don't always get the slot in time and you're trying to,
Well, we would try to make it as good as experience as possible for our achievers.
Okay. And is there a pre-departure for Chevening scholars before they go?
There most certainly is. We really do, if I may use this expression, pick up our Chevening scholars. If you please, could everybody on the line do me a favor and follow our Facebook page, UK in Barbados and Eastern Caribbean, and you will see all of the bios of each of our current 14 scholars. We currently have 14 up in the UK having a great time. We had 15 last year. So yes, we do hold events, partially because a lot of everybody except St. Lucians, the Barbadians who are here already, everybody has to come to Barbados to give their biometric information here at an office here in Barbados. So we take advantage of their being here, and we hold an event for them to meet each other, to be given lots of tips and advice, and to meet senior staff at the British High Commission, the High Commissioner, and all the other people. And we're very keen to meet our scholars, and when they come back, we equally we welcome them back. We have a certificate ceremony, and then as part of their alumni group, they are part of our, if you like, our circle of contacts and influential people. So yes, we have an ongoing relationship with them forever.
I have two final questions for you. So the first one has to do with a question I asked earlier about not being able to work after you finish, you return home. But while they're in the UK, is that privilege, are they eligible to take advantage of being an international student with the work permit privileges as well?
Yep, they are indeed. So a Chevening scholar has the same visa as other students, and under that student visa, they are allowed to work up to 20 hours a week. I would put a personal caveat on that, is that you do have, this is fully funded, and I would hate somebody to be doing some slightly tedious job just to get some money, when actually you've just got a year there and you could be taking advantage of all of the options that life in the UK offers. And many of these are free, so free galleries, museums, you get student discounts to so many things. So life there does not have to be super expensive. Of course it's expensive, but there are lots of things you can do, which are university, which are college, which are available to students all around. For students get cheap travel on trains, cheap travel on buses, on planes. So my view is absolutely grab all the opportunities of being in the UK, and don't flip hamburgers. Yeah.
That's important to note. So take advantage of the year. And my final question to you is, will there be any more, I know they're mentors or former scholars, especially with the writing components of the application, do they give any type of advice to persons going through the application process that they can reach out to them just in case?
Yes, they can. Yes, I mean, a lot of the alumni have been very helpful to applicants. I don't know where everybody's from on the line, but if you go online, you'll find Chevening alumni probably from your own country. And I'm sure they would be delighted to assist if you approach them, particularly if you're on the same sort of area. For example, if you're a lawyer we do have a number of lawyers, and you could reach out to one of them. And I know that everybody has, there's one degree of separation in this country. Everybody will know somebody who knows somebody who has a Chevening scholarship or has had one. So I would strongly advise, yes, that would be a nice thing to do, and then you could hear more about it. We have actually had other webinars where people came along and heard from alumni about their experiences, alumni from different countries. So speaking for the Eastern Caribbean, there are alumni groups in each country, and there are those within the alumni groups who would be very keen to help.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jilly and Sherry-Ann, for your contribution.
Can I just say something, Sheena? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I think there's a Q&A question that I haven't answered. And it's from Astra. And it says, is the Chevening ever for 2 years, or is it only one?
I didn't see that one, actually.
She's interested in a master's program in the 2-year version. And the fact is that we would only do a 1-year master's, Astra. So I'm sorry about that. It's only 1-year master's. So I would suggest you choose a course which would be the way to find out if it's eligible, quite frankly, is to see if it's listed on the Chevening system.
Right.
And those will show you which ones are eligible.
So ask if you're still on the call. I hope that you've just heard Jilly answer your questions. So you can bear that in mind as you start the process of applying for Chevening. Is 6, you have 6 or a week out from the actual date. Or a little under.
Yeah, it's close of play or close of business on the 1st of November, but remember that's UK time. So UK time is 8 p.m. here, and I really don't want you to submit that thing at 8 p.m. because it'll, sure as eggs are eggs, the system will collapse under the if you think about thousands and thousands of people all pressing enter, and off they all go into the great beyond. Just do yourself a favor, and if you really want to do this year, then get it in before the 1st of November. I mean, 31st of October. That seems like a nice, sensible day.
Makes more sense. Chevening is an annual scholarship or every other year?
Annual, absolutely annual. So this year 14 from the Eastern Caribbean, last year 15, previous year I think it was 10. It goes up and down. And also just to confirm that we don't have a specific number per country. So this year, by chance, we've got lots of Vincies and lots of Lucians. Last year we had 2 Dominicans, also was it 3, and 2 Bajans. This year we've got 1 Bajan. But anyway, you get the idea. There isn't a fixed number of scholarships per country.
All right. So persons, get your application started, have your plan in terms of how you're going to answer those questions, put forward a good front, you're pitching yourself to see whether persons will invest in your future and help you to be a future leader for tomorrow. And so Chevening is there if you're interested in the UK. The UK is a fantastic study destination, having studied a bit there myself, and it attracts students from all across the region on an annual basis. So you'll be in really good company. There's lots to do there. And so Chevening is one way to help finance your way to that. I want to take this time to thank Jilly and Sherry-Ann for joining me on this call. I do apologize for the inability there are persons there trying to see it on the live, but this has been recorded and this will be made available shortly via our social media platforms as well as our CutFest International website. And even if you do not apply to Chevening for the 2023 period, is an annual scholarship. So maybe some of the tips today can inform you for the following application cycle, and you will be well ahead of trying to prep yourself to put forward the best application. So thanks to everyone for joining me this evening. This is part of the CutFest. CutFest runs from October 17th down until November 13th. We have over 30 plus schools from across major study destinations such as the UK, Canada, and the US. We are going to be ending CutFest in Barbados in person on November 12th and the 13th. But in the meantime, every week, 12 and 6 p.m., we will have a school or a specially themed webinar like this coming to you. Next week, we actually have a college prep for parents, followed by another scholarship webinar, and you'll get to hear about even more scholarships available in different destinations. So sign up for that one on the CutFest website. Once again, again, thank you to the team at the British High Commission in Bridgetown with responsibility for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. Good evening, everyone. Stay safe.
Thanks very much, Tina. Goodbye,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
Bye.
Bye.